Hey everybody, Captain B-Nard back here with another Wi-Fi battle. Today we have week 9 of the BHDL4. This is the final week in the regular season of the Draft League, and that is going to be against Viradu. He is a very strong competitive battler and seasoned draft leaguer. This is, I believe, our 7th match here on Scarlet and Violet, so we have a long-standing history with this guy, obviously. Always very, very difficult opponent to get over. But yeah, we'll go ahead and get the battle on its way here and see how it goes. So there he is. IGN is, of course, going to be Viradu, and let's take a look and see what he has. So he's got the Kilowatt Troll. He's got the Yuxi. He's got the Chi-Yu. He's got the Ogerpon Wellspring form. He's got the Gallade. And he's got the Muck. So, yeah, this is actually a little bit of a surprise for us here. I was not expecting to see the Gallade. Definitely was not expecting to see the Gallade here. No Iron Treads is pretty shocking. No Azumarill is pretty shocking as well. So definitely not quite the squad that I was expecting from this guy. So, but I think our plan, nothing we see changes our strategy here. Our plan was to lead the Sneasler going in, and I don't think anything we see changes that math. So that is what we're going to do here in this one. We do have a little bit of a plan, a little bit of a strategy here. We decided to bring a couple of unorthodox sets as well, a little bit or something, a little difference, as did he. So yeah, we'll go ahead and see how that works out for us. We are mathematically not only locked into playoffs here, but locked into top 4 as well for final standings of the regular season here. So we do have a little bit of wiggle room here, but yeah, we'll see what we can make happen against this guy, as it looks like he is going to go ahead and lead with the Kilowattrel as we led with the Sneasler. So I was kind of expecting this in a way, and reason is because the Kilowattrel, if it is Choice Scarf, will outspeed my Sneasler. So in order to scout for the Choice Scarf, I think I'm going to go ahead and actually just try to go for a Fake Out here. If he stays in, I think that's confirmation he's Scarf. But if he switches, obviously we'll just have to go from there. So I think we just Fake Out here. We don't lose anything by doing that. So we're just going to go for that straight away and see what he wants to do. He does stay in, so we nail him with a Fake Out, do some pretty decent chip damage. We don't get a Poison Touch, but we do get the obligatory flinch. So the fact that he stays in there definitely leads me to believe that he is Scarf, because I feel like he would not risk it otherwise. So I feel like we definitely switch here, obviously, because we are actually Scarf as well, and we're locked into Fake Out, so we can't stay in. So I think Goodra is definitely the safe switch here, so that's what we're going to go for. He actually goes for a switch of his own, interestingly enough, and he is going to switch directly into, what's that going to be? It is going to be the Muck. Okay, so that's not great, as we do withdraw into the Goodra. So that's kind of bad, because we can't really do a ton to the Muck with the Goodra. So the double switch there definitely benefits him, as there's not really much we can do to this Muck with Goodra, unfortunately. So I feel like the only thing we can do here is just switch to Mudsdale. I was actually expecting this Muck this week, and I'm kind of expecting it to be Terra Flying to deal with the Mudsdale, but at the same time, we don't really have a good switch into this Muck aside from the Mudsdale, so we just straight up switch into the Mudsdale. That's really all we can do, because no attack we go for with Goodra is going to do that much damage to this thing. So we'll go ahead and switch into Muck, see what he wants to do. He probably just knockoffs or something, as, yeah, there's the knockoff, so it's a little unfortunate. Does some chip damage, not a ton, but it also gets rid of our leftovers, which is pretty unfortunate. So the only good news about this situation is now we can pretty freely go ahead and throw up a Stealth Rock here, and I don't believe he has any way to get that off the board. So we're just going to go Stealth Rock here, see what he wants to do. He does have a knockoff on the Muck, and he actually does switch the Muck out there, probably fearing the ground move. He's going to go ahead and switch into the Yuxi, kind of as expected. We go for the Stealth Rock, get the entry hazard up on him, which is kind of fine. Obviously, there's not a ton we can do to the Uxie. We could attack it, but it is pretty bulky. Unfortunately, this does probably open the door for him to get up his Stealth Rock, but at the same time, we do have options here. So we obviously don't know much about this, or really anything about this Uxie set. There's a couple things that I'm thinking about doing here. I kind of want to go into Grimmsnarl. I think it's a little early to try and pop our super techie Drifblim set here. At the same time, he probably just goes for hazards. I don't know what kind of attacking moves he could have on deck here, so we actually could try to get Drifblim in here and start setting up, but I really kind of don't want to at the same time. You know what? What do we do? Yeah, let's go Grimmsnarl. He probably just sets up hazards here, which is not going to be great for us because we don't really have a way to get rid of it, but we'll just go into Grimmsnarl here, as it is kind of free. So we'll go Grimmsnarl. There it is, as he does go for the Stealth Rock. Kind of figured he would. There was nothing we could do about that, unfortunately. So he does get the rocks up on us. So it looks like neither of us really have any way to get rid of those rocks. So this is going to be a Stealth Rock game, as it were. So I think best case scenario here for us, we have a little bit of a choice. We definitely want to get a screen up right now, but the question is, do we get up a light screen or a reflect? I'm not 100% sure what his switch into Grimmsnarl here is. It's probably Muck, so I feel like the reflect would perhaps be more beneficial here. So let's get the reflect up. Let's just do that first, as he actually does stay in, interestingly. So we go for the reflect, get the physical defense increase on our Pokemon, as he does go knockoff, so he's got that on deck on the Uxie as well, interestingly enough. He gets rid of our light clay, which sucks because that means that any screen we set up from here on out is going to be not having the full 8 turns that the light clay would afford it. So that kind of sucks. He's got knockoff on everything, it seems. So so now we have a little bit of a choice to make. We can either attack, or we can, in fact, get our light screen up for 5 turns. I don't know what I really want to do. Obviously, light screens will give us that special defense increase. I kind of want to just play rough for some damage and see what kind of damage output we're looking at here. So let's click play rough and see what happens here. He does stay in U-turn, which obviously does no damage. So this definitely looks to be a support set for sure with the Uxie. What does he U-turn into here is the question. It's probably the Muck if I had to guess. But we'll see what he wants to come in with here. What is it going to be? What does he want to do? It is going to be, what's that? It is going to be the Chi-Yu, so that's a risky play. Chi-Yu comes in, lowers the special defense. We go play rough. We do connect, which is amazing. Does a ton of damage to that thing, knocking it down into the red. Actually, I didn't see Stealth Rock damage, so I think, unless I looked away real fast and didn't catch it, but I think that means that this thing is boots, which is good information. So yeah, that's good information for sure. But we do a ton of damage to the Chi-Yu, massively limiting its staying power here. It's almost out, which is amazing. Unfortunately, we don't really have the priority on deck this week to finish it off. So I think we just switch to Goodra here because we don't want to take a big shot with Grimmsnarl. He doesn't know we don't have the priority, which is nice. But yeah, getting that big shot off on that Chi-Yu is going to be really important, I think, later down the line. So now I think it actually might be within fake-out range for Sneasler if we have to go that road. So yeah, we switch out. We go into Goodra here. We'll see what he wants to do. We are going to, of course, take the Stealth Rock damage, unfortunately, as he is going to go for a Ruination, which is unfortunate. So this is an interesting... That's pretty interesting. Okay, so he Ruination, so that sucks. So he was Boots, I believe, and Ruination. So yeah, Goodra takes a lot of damage there, and unfortunately we don't have recovery on Goodra this week, so that really sucks. But I think what we want to do here, we have a couple of options. How do we want to play this? He probably goes into Muck, I would say. I don't feel like he risks the Ogre Pawn switch right now, so I think Scald is probably the safest play, so we're just going to click Scald here and see what he wants to do. He does actually switch out, so what does he want to switch in here? It is going to be, okay, that I believe is the Gallade, so that's another risky switch. Gallade comes in, we go for it, takes the rocks, we go for Scald, does very minimal damage to the Gallade, no burn, which is unfortunate. But yeah, that definitely looks to be Assault Vest Gallade by how little damage that did, because that did like nothing, so that's probably Assault Vest Gallade there. So now the question is, what do we switch in? I feel like Mudsdale's the obvious switch, so let's just do Mudsdale here. I don't think there's too much to think about here. We could do Grimmsnarl, but I feel like Mudsdale's probably fine. So we'll just do Mudsdale and see what he wants to do. He could attack us, he could double switch us as well. But yeah, I think just doing Mudsdale here is the safe play, because Reflect is up for several more turns, so we have that physical defense increase. Goodra probably could take a shot from this thing at this point, but I don't really want to. Yeah, because we know we can't knock him out because he's Assault Vest. So we'll switch into Mudsdale, see what he wants to do here. We are, of course, going to take the Stealth Rock damage, as he is going to go for a Psycho Cut. Does quite a bit of damage to us, actually, despite the defense boost. We do get a stamina boost as well, which is nice. And so now we're in an interesting situation, because he does obviously have the ground immunity on deck in the form of the Uxie. So I feel like the Uxie switch is really obvious here. So he could definitely switch into Uxie. So I kind of want to go Stone Edge, predicting that. Although at the same time, if he has that was Psycho Cut. So if he has like Leaf Blade on deck, he could go for it and try to finish us here. Earthquake is the safe play. I mean, we could also try to roar him out and see what he gets forced into, but I don't know that I really want to do that. Does he just make the Uxie play? I feel like he probably just makes the Uxie play. Let's just Earthquake anyway, see what he does. Does he stay in, or does he switch to Uxie here? That is the question. He does stay in Sacred Sword, and it's not quite enough to take us out, fortunately. We live with 67 HP in the red, go for an Earthquake in return. How much damage can it do? It actually is enough to go ahead and finish that Gallade off, fortunately, knocking him down to 5 Pokemon. So that is pretty incredible for us. Unfortunately, Mudsdale takes a ton of damage, but we are able to get rid of the Gallade and knock him down to 5. So that is an interesting turn of events for us. It does suck that we don't have the leftovers on Mudsdale anymore. That's going to really hurt us. Obviously, the staying power of Mudsdale. We did get more physical defense boost there from Mudsdale, but yeah, it's unfortunate because now Mudsdale is obviously very worn out. So, but yeah, we'll see what he wants to do in response to that. We were definitely counting on Mudsdale to hurt that Muck, so yeah, that's not good. So now he's going to go ahead and come in with the Ogre Pawn, kind of as expected. He does take some Stealth Rock damage here. So the question is, as we take a look here, what does he do? Because let's take a look here. We still have 2 more turns of Reflect. We have multiple defense boosts with Mudsdale. I don't feel like we can afford to switch right now, because even though this thing probably takes us out with an attack, I feel like we can't switch here because we can't give this thing an opportunity to set up if he decides to try and set up. So we're actually going to, as much as I don't want to lose Mudsdale this early, I feel like we don't have a choice. So we're just going to try to roar him out and see what he does. We probably don't live. He just goes for the Ivy Cudgel here. So the Ivy Cudgel comes in and finishes the Mudsdale off. There was no way we were living that. So Mudsdale goes down, and we go down to 5, which is unfortunate. So he's got Ivy Cudgel on deck. So yeah, a little unfortunate, but there wasn't much we could do about that. So now what I think we need to do in this situation is I think we come in with Sneasler, because we know Choice Scarf Sneasler is going to outspeed this thing, no questions asked, which is good. We're going to come in with Sneasler. We do take some Stealth Rock damage, and I feel like we definitely just go for a U-turn here, because Dire Claw is too risky. He's got the switch So let's just U-turn. I don't think there's much to think about here. He does switch out kind of as expected, so we are going to be able to get some momentum off this exchange here as he switches in with, I believe that is the Muck. Yeah, so Muck comes in. It's going to take some Stealth Rock damage, which is good. And now we can safely U-turn. It does basically nothing to the Muck. I'm kind of expecting maximally defensive Muck here. Yeah, we do get the momentum on our side. And unfortunately, without Mudsdale, we don't have the best of switches to the Muck, but we do have our Rotom. And I think Rotom is probably going to be the key right now to trying to chip this Muck down. So we're going to go ahead and switch Rotom in here. And we are, of course, going to take the Stealth Rock damage. But then we are going to regain some HP here with the leftovers. So we have a choice to make here. The Reflect is over, so we don't have any more physical defense boost, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. So we have a little bit of a choice on our hands here. Obviously, we could go ahead and Volt Switch, but I feel like Will-O-Wisp is probably the better play here, because anything he switches into besides the Chi-Yu will get hurt by that. So let's go Will-O-Wisp and see what he wants to do here. Hopefully we can land it. That would be nice. But yeah, not 100% sure what he wants to do. He could stay in and knock off. That's very possible. But yeah, this Muck is going to be a problem for us without Mudsdale in tow anymore. So we have to try and cripple it with a potential burn with a Will-O-Wisp here. So we're going to do that and see what he wants to do. So what is it going to be is the question. He is really thinking about this one. So he actually does switch out. So probably fearing the Will-O-Wisp, he does switch. What does he come in with here? He actually switches into the Ogerpon, which could be good. He takes some Stealth Rock damage. We do go for the Will-O-Wisp, and we do miss the Will-O-Wisp. So that is pretty awful. That is a very, very critical miss right there. That we gained some HP back with the leftovers. So super critical Will-O-Wisp miss there that's going to screw us over. But I guess that is what it is. I guess, yeah, I mean, we can't leave Rotom in here because we get taken out with a Grass attack. So really the only thing we have to do here is just go into Goodra. And then, you know, we do have resistance to the Water move. We have the immunity to the Grass move. So yeah, but that Will-O-Wisp miss really sucks. I'm not going to lie, that really sucks. Because that would have completely crippled this thing. So, yeah, but I guess it is what it is. So we're going to try to refocus. We come in with Goodra, take the Stealth Rock damage, of course, as he is going to go for a Play Rough, predicting the switch, taking the Goodra out. So that is a very, very shitty turn of events for us there, as we lose both of our Terra Captains without having Terrid. So we lose that. We go down to 5. Yeah, there's no thought process here. We just come in with the Sneasler. So yeah, we go down to 4, I should say, sorry. So we'll come in with Sneasler, take some Stealth Rock damage, and there's really nothing to think about here. We just click U-turn every time against this thing. We know we outspeed because of the Scarf, so we're just going to do that and see what happens. But yeah, that's very disappointed about that turn of events for sure. So we're going to yeah, try to bounce back from that. So yeah, we'll see what we can do against this thing. If he stays in, U-turn might actually take him out from this range, depending on his spreads. Yeah, but he's not going to stay in. There's no way he stays in on that matchup. So he is going to switch, and he does go back to the Muck every time, as you would expect. So the Muck comes in, does take some Stealth Rock damage, and we are going to go ahead and U-turn on the Muck, which will do some decent chip damage to the Muck. And this Muck is getting worn down. Because even though we're not doing a ton of damage to it, every time he makes these switches, he's going to take a round of Stealth Rock and additional chip. So that's not too bad for us. I think we just go right back into Rotom here. Yeah, so we just go right back into Rotom here, and we are going to take some Stealth Rock damage. And then we are going to, of course, regain some HP with the leftovers. So I really don't want to miss a Will-O-Wisp again, so I think what we're going to do this time is, since he has no, he actually does if the Kilowattrel is Volt Absorb, he does actually have the electric immunity with that. But I feel like having missed the first Will-O-Wisp, I don't really want to miss another one. He could switch to the Kilowattrel here, that's very possible. that's a risk that I feel like we have to take. So we're just going to click Volt Switch here and see what he wants to do. He does switch, so hopefully it's not to the Kilowattrel, but it might be. It is going to be, I think that's the Uxie. Okay, so that's fine. Uxie comes in, takes some Stealth Rock damage. We are going to go Volt Switch here, which does pretty decent chip damage to the Uxie, actually, and then that is going to give us the pivot. Now, in this situation, I am sorely tempted. And you know what? I think because we just about know this Uxie's full set. We know it has Stealth Rock knockoff U-turn. It could have some other sort of attacking move. So I am sorely tempted at this point. And you know what? You know what? I don't see any better opportunity to do this. So it's time, ladies and gentlemen. It is time to try this. We are going to switch into the Drifblim. So we are going to take some Stealth Rock damage. And so now we are going to see, this is the moment of truth, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to see if we can get this damn Drifblim set to do something. So we are going to attempt the Calm Mind on this thing. That last move, very well, could in fact be something awful for us. But I feel like he probably, knowing that he has knockoff, I feel like he probably knockoffs here, which would be exactly what we want. So we're going to Calm Mind and see what happens. What does he do? Is the question. We're going to Calm Mind. Does he knock off or does he pivot? That is the real question here. Hopefully he knocks off. If he goes knock off, we might actually be in a really strong position here. I really hope he goes knock off here, because if he does, we could be in a very strong position here. Okay, so we outspeed him. We go for a Calm Mind, so that's going to give us a special attack and special defense increase here. What does he go for? What does he go for? He goes U-turn. That's very unfortunate. So we take a little bit of chip damage, and he switches out. So that sucks because, yeah, that sucks because what I was really hoping for was him to activate our weakness policy by attacking us. So that didn't happen. But yeah, we'll see what he wants to switch into here. We are sitting at +1 special attack, special defense, so he probably does switch into something that will, he probably switches into something here to hit us on the physical side, and it is actually going to be, or it could be the Chi-Yu. So Chi-Yu comes in, Beads of Ruin cuts our special defense. So unfortunately we don't, we do kind of have a switch to this thing in the form of the Grimmsnarl. But at the same time, okay, so here's the situation, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very torn because I feel like there's no way that we take a Dark Pulse from this thing, because we don't have HP investment. We actually have speed investment on this thing. So there's no way we outspeed this thing, and there's no way we take a Dark Pulse from this thing. But I really don't know what to do, because Drifblim is set up as well as it possibly can be. It's kind of set up at this point. It's set up with one Calm Mind. I really, as much as I don't want to do this, I really just kind of want to do this. Yeah, let's do it. Chat, let's go for it. Let's stay in. Let's Shadow Ball. Let's see what. Okay, he overheats, predicting the switch. Can we take it? No, he gets a crit and takes us out. Oh, man. Wow. Okay. So, yeah, we lose the Drifblim to a crit, and we go down to 3. So, holy hacks in this game, ladies and gentlemen. I guess that's what we're doing here in this game. So, the crit, which most certainly did matter, takes us out and knocks us down to 3 Pokemon. So, yeah, let's come back in with Sneasler. Let's just do that. Because why not? So, so we come in with Sneasler, we take the Stealth Rock damage, and we just U-turn. There's nothing really to think about here. We just U-turn. If he stays in, it takes him out. If he switches, we'll inflict some nice some chip damage and get some momentum against one of his other Pokemon. But yeah, the hacks in this one are, I guess this is the season was coming to a head for us, and the hacks are coming for us in this one. So, so yeah, we'll see what we can do about it. Definitely behind the 8-ball a little bit here, so we'll see what we can do. Yeah, but we know this thing is boots. Yeah, so he is going to try to save the fish. So what is... He switches the Chi-Yu out. He probably goes to Muck. Oh, no, he goes to... That is Yuxi. So actually goes to Yuxi this time. He takes some Stealth Rock damage. We go U-turn here. And that's not quite enough to get rid of the Yuxi. But it does do some pretty good chip damage. And, yeah, that lets us switch out. So I feel like... we have a couple different ways we can go here, right? So we can either... switch into the Grimmsnarl and try to get some screens up, or we can switch into Rotom to try to keep the momentum going. I feel like the smart play in this situation is to... because he still does have that Kilowattrel in the back. It is still a Terra Captain of his as well. And I feel like based on the way that he's playing that thing, I mean, it could... I mean, there's a chance it could be Volt Absorb. It could not be Volt Absorb. I don't know. I kind of want to just go into Rotom. That's the safe play here. We could do Grimmsnarl and try to get some screens up, though. That's not terrible. Let's just do Rotom. Let's just do Rotom. Because I don't feel like there's really much this thing can do to us. So... we'll go Rotom. We take some Stealth Rock Chip, obviously, and then we're going to get some HP back with the leftovers. So the question is now, what move do we go for against this thing? Because I feel like, obviously, we can't Hydro Pump because he's still got the, yeah, the Ogerpon Wellspring, of course. I feel like we don't know for a fact that the Kilowattrel is Volt Switch. I'm sorry, is Volt Absorb, although there's a good chance it might be. We have to Volt Switch, I think, because if he does switch into the Ogerpon, then we can't. The Hydro Pump's going to heal him, so we just have to Volt Switch, I think, here. So he goes Knockoff, which is unfortunate. He does a little bit of chip damage and gets rid of our leftovers. We did outspeed us. We go for a Volt Switch, takes out the Yuxi, which is something, and knocks him down to 4 Pokemon. So we lose the leftovers on the Rotom, which is unfortunate, but we do get rid of the Chi-Yu, which is nice. Or I'm sorry, not the Chi-Yu, the Yuxi, and knock him down to 4 Pokemon. So question at this point is, do we go Sneasler or do we go Grimmsnarl? We could go Sneasler. That probably just invites the Muck back in, but that thing is getting chipped. We could go Grimmsnarl. That also perhaps invites the Muck back in, or the Ogerpon, one or the other. I feel like Sneasler's the safer play because we know we'll outspeed, so let's go Sneasler. Yeah, we'll go Sneasler. We will take some Stealth Rock damage, and yeah, now we're going to see what he wants to do. So, it is going to be... Okay, so he does come back in with the Muck, which is getting pretty chipped. So he comes in with that, takes some more Stealth Rock damage. Unfortunately, we do not have... even as weakened as that Muck is, I think we need it to be a little bit weaker so that we could take it out with a close combat. I don't think close combat KOs from that range. So I feel like we just have to U-turn here, so that's what we're going to do. He stays in, we go U-turn, does some more chip damage to the Muck. Now I believe we actually do get a crit on the U-turn, which doesn't really matter, but now that Muck is chipped to the point that something else will take it out for sure. So the question is, what do we bring in on an incoming attack from the Muck? Is it the Grimmsnarl or the Rotom? I feel like we do Grimmsnarl. I feel like Grimmsnarl is the answer. Yeah, let's go Grimmsnarl here. Yeah, I feel like Grimmsnarl is the answer. So we'll come in with Grimmsnarl. We are going to take some Stealth Rock damage here. And he is going to, in fact, go for a Zen Headbutt. Okay, so that's actually worked out perfectly for us. We get the prediction there. Got Zen Headbutt. So he was banking that we were going to try to take him out. And then that we wouldn't survive, that we were going to try to take him out, that he would survive the attack, and that he could take us out on the other side with the Zen Headbutt. So, so yeah, now we have an interesting choice to make, because this Muck is still one of his Terror Captains, and he's not used it yet. So, I feel like this Muck could be Terra Flying, but if it is Terra Flying, he certainly doesn't go for it. We could easily play rough here, so I feel like he may not risk a switch, because I feel like we could play rough. He knows we have it, So let's just go. I feel like we go for a Stomping Tantrum here. Yeah, let's Stomping Tantrum here. He does stay in, perfect. So we catch him with the Stomping Tantrum, takes the Muck out, absolutely perfect. Knocks him down to 3 Pokemon. So despite the hacks, ladies and gentlemen, we are fighting on in this one. We take him down to 3 Pokemon with the Grimmsnarl. Grimmsnarl is putting in the work in this one, which is pretty incredible. So we'll see what he wants to come in with. He's got the Ogerpon Wellspring, he's got the Chi-Yu, and he's got the Kilowattrel at this point in time. So the question is, what does he come in with to face the Grimmsnarl? That is the question. He pretty much knows our full set at this point. He's probably going to have to know we don't have priority. And he is going to come in with the Ogerpon, as I kind of thought he would. So that thing comes in, he takes some rocks. And I feel like at this point, we probably have to... we have to make a decision here, because obviously if he goes for... Because we know he's got Play Rough, we know he's got Ivy Cudgel. The question is, what is the rest of his set? I feel like he doesn't play around with us here, because I want to get a screen up, at least a Reflect, I think. Even though you know what? I'm not 100% sure about that, and the reason is because this thing is his only physical attacker remaining. The other 2 are special, but I kind of want to Reflect just so we can live a hit. So yeah, let's Reflect. Let's get a Reflect up here. So we go for a Reflect, getting a physical defense boost, which will help us against this thing. What does he go for? He goes for a Play Rough. We do take it just barely, which actually I think will let us get a light screen up. I think that's the play. Yeah, we're going to light screen now to get the other screen up here to see if that can carry us. We go for the light screen, go ahead and get the special defense boost for limited amount of turns. He does Play Rough again. That does take us out. That's kind of okay. Grimmsnarl goes down and we go down to 2, but that is okay because now we have screens up for a few turns. So the question now is, I feel like Sneasler is the play here. Yeah, Sneasler is the play here, definitely. So we're going to go ahead and come in with Sneasler. The question at this point, as we take some Stealth Rock damage, is what the Kilowattrel is really the X factor right now. The Kilowattrel is really the X factor here, and I feel like our best play right now is to just Dire Claw. I think that's our best play, is the Dire Claw, because I think it takes anything out at this point, aside from the Kilowattrel, and it just 2 shots the Kilowattrel. So let's Dire Claw. That's our play. Okay, he does switch. Does he sack the Chi-Yu, or does he go Kilowattrel here? That is, I believe, that's the Chi-Yu. Yeah, so Chi-Yu comes in. Beads of Ruin doesn't matter. We go for the Dire Claw, and we get a crit, which didn't matter. We get the crit back, which didn't matter, but we knock out the Chi-Yu and knock him down to 2 Pokemon. So this one's definitely coming down to the wire, ladies and gentlemen. We take him down to 2 Pokemon there, which is incredible. Now he's going to go ahead and come in with the Kilowattrel, and he does take Stealth Rock damage, which is confirmation he's not Boots, which I didn't think he would be. We definitely switch into Rotom because we need to scout this thing's Terra, so there's no way we're staying in here. He could be Terra Ground, in which case he would survive. He would survive a Dire Claw and take us out, so we switch to Rotom here 100%. He made his decision very quickly here, so we come in with Rotom, we take the Stealth Rock damage. What is this thing going to be? He is going to Terra now. Yep, I knew he would. If this thing's Terra Ground and goes Terra Blast, that would be incredible actually for us, and if it's choice, and it is, okay, it's Terra Flying, okay. So he does go Terra Flying here. What does he go for is the question. He goes for Hurricane, and he misses. Okay, that is beautiful. So we got some hacks back, which is absolutely beautiful here. I feel like there's no reason for us to risk a Hydro Pump. I feel like there's no reason for us to risk a Hydro Pump here, because he could switch. I feel like the fact that he's Terra Flying means he's certainly got to be... I feel like this thing could actually be Scarf, though. And if it's Scarf, it outspeeds us. So you know what? I actually kind of think that thing is Scarf, which could be a huge issue for us. So I feel like we might actually have to risk the Hydro Pump here, because I feel like he's Scarf. And if he's Scarf, he switches, right? If he Scarf, he switches. He wouldn't Hydro Pump again. Hex isn't really doing enough damage. Let's Hex. I feel like we have to Hex. He does switch. He's got to be Scarf. We should have Volt switched. He's got to be Scarf. He comes in. Okay. We should have Volt switched. He takes the Stealth Rock. We go Hex. Doesn't do enough damage. The Reflect is gone. That's bad. Yeah, so that was bad. We should have Volt switched. We should have Volt switched. Yeah, that was a bad play. We still have the light screen for another turn, but it doesn't matter. That sucks. He has to have the grass move. I feel like he has to have the grass move. But the question is, does he go for it? I feel like he does. That sucks. We would have been in the driver's seat if we would have just Volt switched. We would have been in the driver's seat. We can't really afford to switch, I don't think. I don't think we take an attack from this thing either. Let's just Volt switch now. He goes Power Whip, so he's got Power Whip. Yeah, that takes us out. Yeah, so this took a turn. He gets a crit. That didn't matter. So Rotom goes down. We go down to 1. Yeah, so that one critical move there might have cost us. So the light screen's over. It's all going to come down to this. I think it's all going to come down to whether or not he hits the Hurricane, honestly. So we come in with Sneasler. We take some rocks. There's no way he switches here. I think we just Dire Claw. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, he stays in and lets us take him out with a Dire Claw. And he goes down to 1. So I think that Kilowattrel, based on the way he's playing it, it's either Specs or Scarf. I feel like it's Scarf, and if it's not Scarf, we win. If it's Scarf, we lose if he hits the Hurricane. So he comes back in with it, takes the rocks. So it's all down to this last turn, ladies and gentlemen. If he's Scarf and he hits the Hurricane, he wins. If he's not Scarf, we win. So all we do is click Dire Claw here and find out. What's it going to be? Are you Scarf or are you not Scarf? If he's not Scarf, we win. If he is, he has to hit the Hurricane. Or maybe the electric move takes us out anyway. He's Scarf. Yeah, then he's got Terra Blast on deck too. Yeah, so it was a valiant effort on our side. I don't think we live that, and indeed we don't. So, yeah, so we actually had the game in our hands at the end there and threw it away. Because of that one misplay. So yeah, so we actually do lose that one, 1-0 to Viradu. Really solid match. Definitely quite a few hacks there. Unfortunately, we did make one misplay at the end that cost us, but really, really tight match all around. Kind of disappointed that the tech we had didn't really do anything. Little disappointed in the early hacks against us. But yeah, that kind of is what it is there. So, but yeah, that will a little bit of a disappointment, but a really close game to close the season out here. So with that loss, the Philadelphia Pidgeys actually take our first on-camera loss all season in Week 9 here, and we fall to a 7-2 record. That basically mathematically locks us in to 4th place here. In the playoffs. So obviously, as I said, we will be back for playoffs. We will not get to choose our opponent for playoffs, but we will not, in fact, get to be chosen either in playoffs. So, yeah, that is the situation at this point for us. So, what else can I say except thanks for watching again, everybody. Hope you all enjoyed. Please hit that like button, leave a comment, and or subscribe if you did enjoy, and stay tuned for more new battles in the future. Stay tuned for, of course, coming out next time. We will have the Week 9 Captain's Recap, and then we'll be off to playoffs at that point. So, yeah, that's it, and we'll see you next time.